Modern Paper Mario is better than the old Paper Mario. And yes, I know how insane that sounds. How can a true Nintendo gamer like myself actually enjoy Sticker Star or Color Splash? Especially after Daddy Chuga Conroy said that Sticker Star was the worst game he has ever played. But please, please, hear me out, gamers. I don't know if I'll change your mind on this, especially if you grew up with the first three Paper Mario games. However, I at least want you to walk away from this video with a newfound appreciation for the newer Paper Mario games and what they've achieved, because I promise you, they're not as bad as you've been told. In fact, like I said, I'd argue they're better, at least in their own unique way. This is my retrospective on the Paper Mario series and why I love modern-day Paper Mario over the older games. For those unfamiliar with the series, Paper Mario is a spin-off of the Mario franchise that originally had RPG roots but slowly transformed into an action-adventure series. For older fans who grew up with the series, this change has not been taken lightly, to the point where people call the first game to introduce these changes Sticker Star, the worst Mario game of all time. As someone whose first Paper Mario game was Sticker Star, I might sound a bit nostalgia biased. However, keep in mind that I recently replayed the game for the fifth time, and I can assure you, Sticker Star is not a bad game. In fact, I'd argue it's a great game, and so are Color Splash and Origami King. But before I explain why those games are great, I want to discuss why I didn't care much for the first three Paper Mario games, and why I was actually thrilled that the series changed direction. One of the many reasons I'm not the biggest fan of the first three games is that they seem to lack creativity and innovation in terms of gameplay and style. I know how crazy it might sound for me to complain about the lack of creativity in the older games when the newer games can't give us a new character that isn't a generic red toad, but please let me explain. In many cases, less is more, and allow me to explain. The first Paper Mario plays just like any generic RPG, nothing particularly new or groundbreaking about it. You level up your party, enter turn-based battles, and use items to heal your party or enhance attacks. It's just a standard RPG that just happens to feature Mario characters in it. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, the Mario series is iconic, and exploring the Mushroom Kingdom in an RPG format does sound interesting at the very least. However, in the first three games, the iconic Mario characters and creatures are often sidelined in favor of original characters. I've always found this to be a huge missed opportunity. Why even set these games in the Mushroom Kingdom if it doesn't feel like the Mushroom Kingdom? Yes, you can interact with Toads, Goombas, and Koopas. Don't get me wrong, there are some classic Mario enemies in at least the first two games, but they're either redesigned to all hell looking completely different or appear only briefly at the start of the game and never again. This is something I especially noticed while playing the Thousand-Year Door. It's like, while developing the first three games, they were embarrassed having this be a Mario game, and redesigned each iconic Mario creature to either look unrecognizable or just create their own creatures to replace what easily could have been a pre-existing Mario character. For example, in Chapter 4, you're introduced to Vivian, a ghost-like character. However, she looks nothing like a Boo, or really any recognizable Mario creature and her character. She has a completely original design, which is a huge missed opportunity, because part of what makes Paper Mario so special, at least for me, is seeing how these iconic Mario characters are translated into this creative papercraft world environment. Whenever I see new original creatures or characters in the first three Paper Mario games, I see a missed opportunity. The Thousand Year Door and its original characters make it feel less and less like a Mario game. Why couldn't Vivian be a Boo? Why couldn't the X-Naughts be existing Mario creatures? I understand that the older Paper Mario fans are sick of just Goombas and Toads. I'm not even suggesting replacing the X-Naughts with Goombas. The Mario series is full of unique critters, both big and small, that Paper Mario could have used. Limitations often breed creativity because they force developers to think outside the box and reinvent old concepts. How cool would it be if the next Paper Mario game brought back Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2, or hell, any older Mario enemy that hasn't been given the papercraft treatment yet? I don't see why the first three Paper Mario games felt the need to create entirely new creatures when they had a wealth of existing ones to choose from. Again, missed opportunity. This issue is especially bad in Super Paper Mario, the third game in the series. Aside from Mario, Peach, Luigi, and Bowser, nearly every other character is an original creation with an odd, blocky art style that doesn't fit Mario's usual aesthetic at all. When these games try to stray so far from the Mario characters, it feels as though the developers of the game intelligence system just wanted to make their own IP and were forced to make a Mario game. But instead of actually embracing the Mario roots, they try to hide it at every corner. The gameplay of the first three games feels generic. Even setting aside the three games' gross underutilization of the Mario cast in this Mario spin off game series, I find the gameplay of the first three games very uninteresting. The first game is just a generic RPG with an okay story. But given how many RPGs existed then and now, I'd rather pick up Final Fantasy than play a subpar RPG that just happens to feature some Mario characters in it. The same goes for the Thousand Year Door, though I will say it took steps in the right direction by incorporating mechanics that made use of the paper aesthetic, like Mario folding into a paper plane or boat to traverse obstacles. However, those changes were nearly big enough to give Paper Mario the separation it clearly needed from other better RPGs, like again Final Fantasy. Super Paper Mario ditches the RPG mechanics for a more traditional level-based system, but in my opinion, this makes it even worse. At least the previous two games were okay turn-based RPGs. Now, Super Paper Mario tries to be a 2D platformer, but controls much worse than any modern 2D Mario game, with RPG mechanics that drags out the pacing with excessive backtracking. For Paper Mario as a series to survive in the competitive gaming market, it clearly needed something new and original. Otherwise, it would always just be a subpar beginner RPG for children. Sticker Star was a necessary evolution. The only time I felt Paper Mario took a huge leap forward was with Sticker Star. Originally, Sticker Star was going to be another generic Paper Mario RPG. In fact, Shigeru Miyamoto himself said the game felt too similar to the Thousand Year Door and told the developers to start over. He challenged them to create something truly unique, something that could only work in a game made out of paper. He also insisted that the game only use pre-existing Mario characters. This is how Sticker Star evolved from a standard RPG into a unique action-adventure that fully embraced its papercraft world and Mario universe. To say I love the direction Sticker Star took would be a huge understatement. Visually, I think even die-hard fans of the Thousand Year Door can agree that Sticker Star looks gorgeous, but why is that? Why does Sticker Star visually hold up so well, even against the Thousand Year Door, a game released on more powerful hardware? I believe it's because Sticker Star fully embraced its papercraft aesthetic rather than shying away from it and embraced the fact it was a Mario game, so it didn't shy away from traditional Mario-level themes of creatures. I know some Paper Mario fans argue over whether the series should focus on the paper aspect, but I always found that debate absurd. Of course, a game called Paper Mario should be about paper. Yes, the original Paper Mario was called Mario Story in Japan, and the paper aesthetic wasn't initially the focus, but it quickly became a defining feature of the series. The art style wasn't just a gimmick, it was a solution to a technical problem. During development, the team at Intelligent Systems struggled to decide on an art style. The N64 couldn't handle a large open world RPG, but a top down 2D game felt like it wasn't taking full advantage of the hardware. When Naohiko Aoyama took Super Mario World sprites and placed them in a 3D environment, it created a picture book effect that perfectly blended 2D and 3D visuals. This approach became the foundation of Paper Mario's aesthetic. In The Thousand Year Door, the paper visuals were expanded upon with minor gameplay mechanics, like I mentioned Mario's folding abilities. Naturally, the series should have continued, embracing its paper roots. Instead, Super Paper Mario strayed from this direction, which is why it's my least favorite game in the series. Super Paper Mario is a topic for another day, but I personally dislike it and believe it's only fondly remembered for its well-written, but insanely dark story. If Super Paper Mario had a story as simplistic as Sticker Star, I guarantee no one would be reminiscing about it so fondly today. The gameplay of that game sucks, but that's a discussion for another day. For now, I want to defend one of the most disliked things about modern Paper Mario games, its story. The modern Paper Mario games, particularly Sticker Star and Color Splash, take a different approach to storytelling. While the first three games had grand, dramatic narratives, the newer titles focus on humor, charm, and smaller character-driven moments. A far better choice, in my opinion, and one that fits the world of Super Mario much more naturally. The plots of Sticker Star and Color Splash are straightforward. Bowser steals the royal stickers in Sticker Star and the big paint stars in Color Splash, prompting Mario to embark on an adventure to save the world from Bowser's evil plans. While these premises may seem simplistic, the heart of the story lies in the journey rather than the overarching plot. These games shine in their world building and character interactions. From reuniting a toad with his lost pet to helping a giant baby wiggler find its missing body segments, the charm of modern Paper Mario comes from these smaller, quirky moments. The game doesn't rely on high-stakes drama, but instead embraces the lighthearted, cartoonish nature of the Mario universe. This approach aligns more closely with Mario's roots. The franchise was never about deep, intricate narratives. It was about fun, engaging gameplay, and whimsical adventures. While the older Paper Mario games told interesting stories, some of their themes, like crime syndicates, existential crises, and world-ending catastrophes, felt out of place in a Mario game. Miyamoto himself pushed for a shift away from these darker tones, favoring a style that emphasized visual humor, clever writing, and engaging world interactions. And honestly, it works. I get that the classic Mario must save Peach plot might seem boring to some, but do we really need more than that? It's a Mario game, after all. If you're expecting something drastically different, maybe the world of Super Mario just isn't for you. I mean, the so-called best paper Mario games, TTYD and Super Paper Mario, had death, torture, ethical dilemmas about dating a computer, and even a subplot where Mario literally ends up in hell. Do we really need such grandiose plots in a Mario game? This is why modern Paper Mario feels like a breath of fresh air to me. The witty dialogue, comedic scenarios, and expressive character animations create an incredibly entertaining experience. It's a cartoon, just like Mario was always meant to be and was originally inspired by. Sticker Star's gameplay is a huge departure from Paper Mario 64 and the Thousand Year Door, but again, in my opinion, it was a necessary one for the series to continue to live in the competitive gaming market. Those two games were just traditional RPGs, which set insanely high expectations because the genre is already oversaturated. Why would I, as a customer, be excited for a Mario RPG if it doesn't offer anything new and isn't as well designed as bigger RPGs like Final Fantasy? If Paper Mario was going to survive in today's ultra-competitive gaming market, change and innovation were inevitable. And honestly, Sticker Star embraced those needed deviations and turned them into something incredibly creative and addicting. Paper Mario, Sticker Star was the first in the series to drop the RPG label, instead calling itself an action-adventure game. But honestly, I wouldn't even place modern Paper Mario strictly in that genre either. The gameplay has become so uniquely its own that it defies easy classification. The closest comparison might be action-adventure, but in the same way people call Pikmin an RTS, it fits, but not entirely. Modern Paper Mario, starting with Sticker Star, blends puzzle solving, turn based action commands, and collectathon mechanics into something entirely new. Sticker Star kicked off this evolution, so it makes sense to start by breaking down its gameplay and explaining why I love it so much. First and foremost, Sticker Star plays like an adventure game, where you're tasked with completing various objectives given by colorful and unique characters. These tasks are often blocked by enemies and obstacles, classic Mario foes now reimagined as charming paper cutouts. Your job as Mario is to explore this handcrafted world, collecting as many stickers as possible. The collectathon aspect is already a fresh idea, but unlike traditional collectathons like Banjo-Kazooie, these collectibles actually serve a gameplay function. In fact, stickers are both your main collectible and your only means of attacking. When you encounter an enemy, the game transitions into a turn-based battle. However, instead of fights being dictated by grinding and leveling up, they're determined by your inventory, what you've collected up to that point, and your problem-solving skills. This shift in battle design makes every encounter a strategic puzzle, rather than just another RPG skirmish. The more you explore Sticker Star's papercraft world, the more you're rewarded with powerful stickers that can help you take down enemies more efficiently. But even if you have the best stickers in the game, you can't just select them at random and expect to win. You need to think strategically about which sticker to use and how it affects different enemies. For example, if a Goomba is wearing a spiky hat, using a jump sticker wouldn't be a good idea. If a Koopa is flying high in the air, a hammer sticker, designed for ground attacks, won't reach it. This design keeps combat engaging, even against smaller foes, because you can't just mash A to win like in traditional turn-based RPGs. While the game isn't particularly difficult, you can't turn your brain off and hope for the best. Every battle requires at least some level of strategy, preventing combat from becoming monotonous or boring. Another aspect I love about the battle system is its simplicity. Even though it's turn-based, there are no complicated numbers. Since Mario is a family-friendly franchise, avoiding the complex stats and damage calculations seen in other RPGs is actually beneficial. Instead, everything is visually communicated to the player. More powerful stickers have a sparkly glow, while weaker stickers appear more disheveled. Enemies follow a similar pattern. Weaker enemies look tattered while stronger ones have a glossy shine. This clever visual design carries over into Sticker Star's sequel, Colorsplash, but with an even more creative approach. Instead of glossy stickers, the game uses color to indicate strength. The more color an enemy and/or object has, the stronger it is. Colorsplash even expands on this concept with its unique health system, where an enemy's power and durability are reflected by how much color they have on their body. It's a brilliant, intuitive way of representing a health bar that I've rarely seen before, or since. The game isn't just about fighting, there's also plenty of in-world puzzle solving. Enter the concept of things, one of the new mechanics that define modern Paper Mario. As you progress through Sticker Star or Color Splash, you'll come across real-world objects which really sell the idea that you're in a world of paper, especially when these items tower over you in size, kind of like how Pikmin uses scale. In Color Splash, you can collect these real-world objects and bring them back to town, where they're transformed into stickers, or, in Color Splash's case, cards. These stickers and cards are some of the most powerful items in the game, used for devastating attacks or healing. They're not just for combat, though, they play a big role in puzzle solving. You'll often be blocked by obstacles that require specific things to get past, like using a radiator to melt snow or a fan to turn a windmill. Throughout your adventure, you'll constantly check your sticker book or card binder to see if you have the right item to progress. The things are especially important during boss fights, which is something I absolutely love. Here's how a typical boss fight goes. You complete the dungeon, then face off with a tough boss. Even with powerful stickers or cards, defeating these bosses can be a challenge. That's where puzzle solving kicks in. You'll notice visual clues about the boss, like a Koopa standing atop a giant poppable ball or a giant Pokey standing in what looks like a baseball field, and these hints point toward a specific thing that will defeat the boss. After looking around at your surroundings, you can either flee the fight to search for the right thing, sticker, shot, card, or if you're a skilled player who's explored enough, use the exact thing you need to beat the foe in a hilariously satisfying way. I have to pause here and say, while some older Paper Mario fans might not be on board with these newer games, can we all agree that the Thing cutscenes are absolutely hilarious and a well-deserved addition to the series? Watching a Koopa get blown away by a giant fan, or Bowser get plunged by a literal toilet plunger, is just a comedic visual treat that adds so much charm to this cartoon world of paper characters in the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, moving on, Sticker Star and the modern Paper Mario games generally follow this routine. You explore vibrant papercraft levels to collect things, which help you either find hidden paths to progress or take down grand bosses. But there's one element I haven't touched on yet: the story. This is usually one of the biggest complaints about modern Paper Mario, so let me try to explain why I actually think the stories in all three of these games are fantastic and fit perfectly within the Mario universe. The stories in the modern Paper Mario games may not be grand epics, but they're perfectly suited for the series. In fact, they're great. While the main plot tends to be simple, the journey is packed with charming visual gags and clever story moments that keep you engaged. And if you're looking for more than just humor, these games deliver some surprisingly heartfelt moments. Take Color Splash, for example. There's the train conductor who feels lost as he faces retirement, or Huey's self-sacrifice, where he reassures Mario he'll be fine absorbing Bowser's black paint, even though he knows it will cost him his life. In Sticker Star, Kirsty willingly transforms into a sticker to help Mario defeat Bowser, saving the day but at the cost of her own existence. The emotional depth is there in modern Paper Mario. You just have to look for it. The music in the modern Paper Mario games is one thing I don't have to defend. Even die-hard fans of the older Paper Mario titles agree that new game soundtracks are fantastic. I especially love the jazzy vibe they went with in Sticker Star. All three of the current modern games have amazing soundtracks that are a must-listen. One track that stands out to me is Gooper Blooper's theme from Sticker Star. It's just so damn catchy. Seriously, it's such a good song. Please listen to Sticker Star's soundtrack or Color Splash. They're both great. I know I haven't talked about the Origami King much in this video. It's the latest Paper Mario game, excluding the Thousand Year Door remake, and there's a reason for that. I'm just not a big fan of it. Like Super Paper Mario, it deviates significantly from its predecessors, but unlike Sticker Star and Color Splash, I don't think it reaches the same highs. I actually plan on making a video titled How Paper Mario Fans Are Ruining Paper Mario. But to summarize my point, the most vocal Paper Mario fans don't necessarily represent the majority. They're incredibly loud about what they want, but what they want isn't what Paper Mario actually is. They demand overly dramatic, almost adult-tier storytelling with papercraft characters who, oddly enough, aren't even allowed to acknowledge that they're made of paper. I see it as blind nostalgia. But here's the thing, those vocal fans aren't the only ones who love the series. Don't believe me? Take a guess. What's the best selling Paper Mario game? The Thousand Year Door? Maybe Super Paper Mario? Nope. It's Sticker Star, the so called worst Paper Mario game. And that proves my point. There are fans of Sticker Star and Color Splash. They're just not as loud as the small but extremely vocal online minority. By constantly demanding that Nintendo cater to their specific vision of Paper Mario, these fans are ignoring what the larger, more casual audience actually enjoys. As for the Origami King, I still think it's better than the first three games, but it falls short of Sticker Star and Color Splash. It tries to bring back a darker story, this time about Toad genocide of all things, while also removing key mechanics like the Thing puzzles. The Things still exist, but only as boss fights, rather than being used creatively for problem solving. And in my opinion, that takes away a lot of what made the modern games so engaging. Aside from the music, I've pretty much defended every aspect of modern Paper Mario. I've explained why the new turn-based combat is actually quite fun, and how the Thing mechanic is a great thing. I also said why having fewer original creatures and designs is, in fact, a great choice. And finally, I've shared how those simple storylines weren't as simplistic as people were saying, and were in fact good entertaining narratives. The only thing left to ask is, did I convince you that modern Paper Mario is actually good? At the very least, I hope this video gives you the desire to give these games a second chance. I promise, especially with Color Splash, you'll be pleasantly surprised.